everyone, I am Mecha42, your favorite YouTube harpy, and we have some more damage control and PR and saving face from the Discovery cast, Sonequa Martin-Green. Let's take a look at this. This is I'm gonna play the clip before we get into the interview here. This is from the Larry King show. What Larry King Now is his new one. God, he's still going. Good on you, man. You're from my time. So let's react to her interview real quick here.
Well, we were just talking about the upcoming possible season 3.
Possible season 3? You still don't have season 3? Oh my God. So how many episodes are we into now? Like, this is episode 6? Usually, right, like, after a couple of episodes, you guys might need to start, I don't know, filming your next season. And this is very much in the same sort of thing that I've been hearing from sources who work in production in Toronto. They've said, basically, from what I've heard. Now this is just rumor, but this kind of confirms that there still isn't a season 3 planned. They have not struck the sets as far as I have been informed, but a lot of the crew seems to be off on other productions. A lot of, like, your lighting, grips, gaffers, those sort of people, your crew people. Basically, they have not struck the sets, but they also don't have, there isn't like a call list for the Discovery sets. They're still kind of basically in limbo. They haven't started filming yet. They don't even know if they're coming back for season 3. I love that he asked her about season 4. Like, oh, we don't even have a season 3 yet. That's kind of hilarious. That's kind of cool. Back to the interview.
Last night, we're excited about season 2 because just as you would hope that you grow from season 1 to season 2 of any show, and we certainly have.
I will give them a little bit of credit. They have been trying the best that they can. Nobody knows, from what I've heard, nobody knows a lot of the behind the scenes stuff with the licensing and this comes from people who've worked on Star Trek as well. So they're just kind of being fed as little as they need to do to come in and do their jobs, from what I've been told. So keep that in mind. Take what she says with a grain of salt, that she might not be fed the entire thing, the entire truth here.
And we appreciate where we started, but we are certainly so proud of where we are now, and we're proud of our new showrunner, Alex Kurtzman, and the rest of the producers.
Looks pretty good, right?
Yeah, we've grown, and I feel that it was hard to find our voice.
That's because you guys don't know what you're doing as far as Star Trek goes, and not so much the actors. I mean, I give them crap, but they're doing the best they can with the scripts they're given, and it really it sucks that there's just bad Trek, and there's this huge misconception, misdirection, and there's even more in this interview. I'll let her continue.
It really was, and we hit the ground running for sure, but it was hard to find our voice. So
Might
I think
be a movie.
Well, I mean, we had the J.J. Abrams movies, which are a different timeline than us.
Yes, they're a different timeline, but they're in the same universe as your stuff. So basically, I got to use the props here. So shout out to Richie Poole for actually sending me Discovery on DVD so I can make fun of the special features at some point. All right, so my best understanding is, and I'm going to kind of go a little back to the future on this. This Spock went back in time to rewrite their little timeline, and then this is basically like the equivalent of Big Boob Lorraine and Back to the Future 2. It's a different sub-timeline that we're seeing in a different universe. This is probably another sort of... This is what I've been hearing all over the place, is the multiverse sort of theory, that, the JJ verse is its own universe, the canon Trek, the Trek that I have on my DVD wall back there, that is a completely different universe. So, and to confuse things further, this Spock right here, Leonard Nimoy Spock, actually plays Ethan Peck's Spock in this series because, well, he hasn't been cast yet, and Discovery hasn't even been a thing yet for this sort of alternate timeline and alternate universe under completely different licensing and a completely different production company, completely different writers, completely different brand. It is basically like Coca-Cola selling their company or losing their rights to their brand But somebody comes along and Pepsi decides, hey, I'm going to make Coke under your label, but it's going to taste like Pepsi. That is kind of my the best understanding as I have, that, you know, like this and this are kind of in the same universe. They are different timelines. She is right, but they are the same universe. And then this is a completely different universe. This is Coke Classic. This is basically Pepsi or New Coke. Even in New Coke was actually technically better than Coke, so I don't like using New Coke so much. But basically, this is Pepsi in a Coca-Cola packaging. All this stuff, and that's why Discovery and all this stuff, they are technically in a different timeline, because there is time travel involved, and you do have that butterfly effect when you go back in time and change something. Things end up being a little different, but this is still the best way to describe it. And, you know, shout out, thank you so much for sending me this. I totally forgot your name. I should have wrote it down. Thank you so much for this imagery. So TOS, TNG, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise are canon. JJ, Trek, and Discovery are in Kelvin and or Prime. Now, they're different universes. The JJ and Discovery are different timelines within the Kelvin Prime sort of universe subset, but they are technically, she's technically right. She's being, it really feels like they gave her a list of things that you can and can't say. Oh yeah, you could say it's the JJ movies are a different timeline, because they definitely are. It is misleading to your viewers who don't really dissect this. And I'm terrible at explaining. I apologize for not being good at explaining. So hopefully the visuals help. Hopefully they do. Back to the interview.
Us. But, you know, I mean, it's expanding at this point now. We have Patrick coming back.
Patrick's coming back?
Yes, well, he's doing Picard. You know, CBS All Access is expanding the Trek universe.
Yeah, they're expanding the Trek universe within, like we said, within this universe, because this is what they can do it in. The Kelvin and Prime universe. Picard will not be our Picard. He's going to be like Spock was in this movie. It's like Spock was in this movie. It's going to be the same actor, just portraying a different version of him. And that is the biggest secret that they don't want out. That is why they're doing this huge damage control press tour. That is why there's so many articles this week. Because they want to kind of do some damage control. Because if people realize that it's Kelvin Prime Picard and not canon Picard, people are going to probably not watch. People like me, you know, people who know, okay, this is Jake Picard, this isn't Jean-Luc.
Which is such a blessing.
He's a great guy, Patrick.
I love Patrick Stewart too.
Now, is he coming back on your show or a different Star Trek?
No, so
this just kind of shows that, okay, Larry King probably doesn't know how many years between. He doesn't seem like the biggest Trekker or Trekkie or whatever you want to call it. No matter what, Picard and the Discovery crew probably won't meet up in the same show, because they're, like 80 some years apart. They probably won't meet up in the same thing. My best interpretation, though, is that they are in the same universe, because this, like we said, events in this movie, events that started in this movie, in this universe, in this timeline, in this version of Star Trek, the destruction of Romulus, the destruction of Vulcan, all of these things only happen in this version of Star Trek. And of course, they've done comics in the Kelvin Prime universe. They've done comics, novels, all sorts of expanded universe sort of material in this universe. So when they say Prime, you know they're talking about this. Prime and Kelvin are the same thing.
He's helming his own Star Trek. It's going to be called Picard. And
title leak, it's going to be called Picard. That's so much better than Star Trek Destiny was one of the titles. We also had Star Trek Reliant, which is probably more related to the Khan series that Midnight's Edge actually dug up, and they found the actual patents and trademarks or whatever that were registered last year during Comic-Con. Star Trek Destiny was one of them, and I think Destiny would have been a terrible title because we already have the Destiny on Stargate Universe as a ship. It would be another STD show, and we'd be like, oh, STD 2.0, the next infection. That's what we would call it. So that's probably why they changed it to Picard. Man, now I want him to call it Destiny, Star Trek Destiny, so we can call it the next infection. Damn it, just rename it Destiny. Anyway. So it looks like it's called Picard. Thanks for the leak.
We've also got the spinoff that's going to be starring Michelle Yeoh coming as well.
That's an iffy.
It's
that's in the
he sort
works.
of announced his comeback recently, and it was goodness. The response was amazing.
Trying to trick poor people into thinking it's our Picard.
I know Patrick is a wonderful, kind.
He is.
He wasn't supposed to come back though, right?
I don't know about that.
From what I've heard, he did not want to come back and play Jean-Luc Picard again, and this is another huge clue that you guys kind of need to pay attention to. He would not come back and revisit Jean-Luc Picard as he was, because we already have it. I've got like 42 discs of The Next Generation on DVD. I have all of the movies. He doesn't want to come back and play that same character. He wants to play a different version of that character. And that is where, and that is probably what they used to kind of convince him to come back. It's like, oh, it's a completely different Picard. It's 20 years later, blah, blah, blah. They probably didn't tell him all of the little details of, and it's going to be in this universe and that, because it's not important to the actors. It's not relevant. I really feel, and from a lot of what I've been heard, that a lot of the actors have been kind of, they've been sort of flim-flammed. They've been tricked into thinking that they're working on a real canon Trek series, when in fact they're working in a Prime Kelvin series. They are in the Prime universe, I believe. Now, and this is what's also confusing, that the Prime, how many different timelines are in the Prime universe? Because we already have two. We already have like the Discovery universe and the Kelvin universe. Which one? I believe this is Prime, but then they keep saying, oh no, it's going to match up to Prime. So Prime was the universe that Spock came from, which still isn't this Spock. It's a completely different universe. That's why I kind of assumed, okay, this Spock from Discovery season 2 is going to be the one coming back to here. It's a huge mess, and we need flowcharts and timeline graphs, and Back to the Future 2 broke it down so well, but that is my best understanding of this. If you guys are finding other interpretations, please let me know, but that's my best understanding. Trying to sift through the tangled mess of, just where the rights and the merchandising and the productions and all the legal licensing there's even this non-compete clause where they have to license their own stuff back from themselves. Basically, it's a complete legal nightmare that I am not qualified to go over, probably, but I'm doing the best I can with the information I have here.
Heard whisperings that he, perhaps didn't want to in the past, but I'm not sure about that. I've only known him for a short time.
Never miss.
All right, so yeah, she probably wasn't aware that he would not come back as the Picard we know. So basically, this article just kind of goes over the same thing, and yeah, we might have a title leak. Also, damage control, real big damage control. The other big thing that she says in this is that we still don't have a season 3 of Discovery. Big surprise, the show's not good, in my opinion. I know there has its fans for whatever reason, but most of us on my channel anyway know that the show's kind of just not good. It is just not good. What do you guys think? Do you think she leaked something she shouldn't have? Do you think she said a little too much, or what? I mean, I'm kind of under the belief that yeah, they're really out there doing some damage control. They're really out there panicking to try and get whatever press and PR and everything that they can. And yeah, they're trying to kind of further pull the wool over a lot of the fans' eyes who might not pay that close attention, who and basically my level of fandom in the 90s. Like, I didn't know all the ins and outs and behind the scenes stuff in the 90s. I showed up, watched the show, I bought the DVDs when they came out, watched them again. That was the level of fan that I was before I really got involved in covering it on YouTube for you guys. And before Discovery came along, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, this isn't right. You're trying to tell me that this is our Star Trek, and it's not. The technology is wrong, the spirit is wrong, the people behind the scenes are wrong. Everything about the technology, everything, the science is wrong. And Kelvin timeline is the prime timeline. You know, there is a timeline in the Kelvin universe that is the prime timeline that they refer to all the time. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will link this article here in the description. It's basically just the same stuff that she went over in the interview. I'm glad they actually released the interview here. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video or live stream. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!